Respect my privacy has become the scream of every right, God-fearing royal. And I thought we'd enjoy some of it because South Park did a damn good job recently. Just to mention first that the premium stuff on lotus.com is worth checking out. The Debate Might As Well Be Dead podcast thing I'm featuring right now. Because, well, there's a lot of phonies, isn't there? And in this debate, there's a lot of phonies on the left there who are like, don't you know that the British Empire killed a billion gazillion people? And you just kind of look at them and like, are you high?
The British Empire
Probably.
wasn't even really playing that piano. He's a great big phony.
The British Empire didn't believe in privacy. And we'll go to the South Park stuff, because South Park has been hitting back up Twitter. I saw a lot of people reposting South Park stuff recently. This happens to coincide with the Respect My Privacy, which we'll get into. This clip, I was just going to enjoy, because it's from 2005, and Seth Dillon points out, oh, God, it's a different world.
I remember watching this episode back in the day, and I can't help but feel it did inform my current beliefs.
Well, 18 years, and suddenly the truth is, I don't know, on the edge. Let's play it and enjoy that.
You here for an abortion too? Yeah, I discovered a few days ago I wasn't bleeding out my coos, so I guess I'm knocked up. Is this doctor any good?
Mrs. Garrison?
Oh, that's me. Hello, doctor. Looks like I need an abortion.
An abortion?
Yeah, I've got one growing inside me. Now, you're gonna scramble its brains or just vacuum it out? If you want, you can just scramble it and I'll queef it out myself.
Mr. Garrison.
Mrs. Garrison.
Mrs. Garrison, you can't have an abortion.
Don't you tell me what I can and can't do with my body. A woman has a right to choose.
No, I mean you're physically unable to have an abortion because you can't get pregnant.
But I missed my period.
You can't have periods either. You had a sex change, Mr. Garrison, but you don't have ovaries or a womb. You don't produce eggs.
You mean I'll never know what it feels like to have a baby growing inside me and then scramble its brains and vacuum it out?
That's right.
But I paid $5,000 to be a woman. This would mean I'm not really a woman. I'm just a guy with a mutilated penis.
Basically, yes.
Oh boy, do I feel like a jackass.
18 years ago, folks.
Oh, that led to the glorious Eka Penis episode.
Yeah.
As well. Do you remember the end of that? If you can't have a baby, you're not a woman. But my wife had ovarian cancer and can't have a baby. Well, I'm sorry, you're married to a man.
But the conversation here is obviously the, oh my God, how things have changed. And Seth is absolutely right, how things have changed. Which is that, well, things that are demonstrable are no longer allowed to be said. If that doesn't make it on YouTube, hello YouTube, sorry, go and check out the website podcast if you haven't seen it, if it gets cut. But we'll move forward, because I saw Ian Miles Chung posting this, that they nailed the transgender bathroom issue. This is actually quite an old episode as well. But it's obviously Cartman just saying, well, I'm a woman now, I'm going to go have a S in the women's toilets. And a lot of retards didn't get the point, because if you go to the next one here, a lot of the pronoun people turned up, and we're like, you do understand that Eric Cartman is an explicitly evil character, and the whole point of the show is pretending to be trans is wrong? No. No, the point of the show is that people could take advantage of a new rule set that you make up, because you haven't thought this through in the slightest. You didn't get that, because you don't get anything.
Could the answer be that evil characters might take advantage of this loophole?
It's just completely brain-dead individuals, but I had to mention that because I can't get over how stupid. There was like a huge response to Ian posting that as well, of people being like, ha ha ha, what a retard, doesn't he know that this is about the fact that those obsessed with trans bathrooms are wrong? No, it's that you can take advantage of whatever. You get the point. We'll move forward, because now we get to the privacy, and the privacy we won't be able to play because I think I'll get instantly taken by YouTube because things, so we'll instead just go through some of that. So if you can go forward on this. Oh, there should have been one before. I put the wrong link, damn it. There was a different link that I messed up, in which Harry and Meghan start off the newest episode of South Park, where they go on a Canadian TV show and talk about how their privacy has been stolen from them, which is why they went on TV to talk about it. And then they
had a Spotify podcast and a Netflix documentary.
And the host pulls out his book and goes, well, you've written about it all in your new book. Where? Great joke.
I like that Harry is portrayed as Canadian.
Yeah, well,
because he's not English.
Always been Canadian in South Park. Well,
oh yeah, that's fair.
It's not just because of Harry, but they the host then mentions that, well, maybe this is all because your bitch of a wife is insufferable. And Harry goes, look, my bitch wife is not insufferable. And then they decide to leave because they're so offended by their privacy and go on the worldwide privacy tour, in which they go around the world protesting for their privacy in Paris and India, and then eventually in South Park, which is the last place they ever go. And then decide that, well, actually, South Park's pretty nice. Maybe we should settle down in South Park and show people we're serious about our privacy.
Oh no, this isn't the same as the Chef's Chocolate Salty Balls episode, is it? Where they ruin South Park.
Well, they try, because you can see here they decide to host a Respect Our Privacy party. So everyone knows they're super serious about all this. Carl tells them to shut up, which they take as an attack on their privacy, rightfully. And then they decide, if you go to the next one, plaster his house with cover of Vanity Fair
Megan.
and Vogue, of Megan over here, so that he knows to respect her privacy. How else would he know? Carl refuses to react to any of that, so Harry does the honourable thing of rubbing his penis on his window
Oh my God.
to ensure that Kyle will respect his privacy in future.
I've not watched the whole episode. I had no idea it gets so deep.
There's a really funny reference, well, not a reference, but Base Dave did call it, which is that Harry and Meghan are arguing about how Kyle doesn't respect their privacy, and Meghan goes, it's because I'm an ethnic woman. And Harry goes, yeah, because you're an ethnic woman. Wait, you're an ethnic woman? That doesn't...
Just like all those casting directors.
Yeah, and then they go to this brand manager over here who decides to help them obtain their privacy. And he does this by looking through the brand website. He finds out that Meghan already had an actress account where she's a sorority girl, actress, influencer, victim. And then they add Harry, who is put down as royal prince, millionaire, world traveller, victim. Because, of course, Carl then turns up and tells them that maybe being a brand is not an authentic way to live your life, and you end up spouting falsehoods because, well, of course you do. And Harry realizes that, yes, being a brand is cancer. Stop it. Be yourself instead.
And he tries to get a response from Meghan.
Meghan doesn't respond at all because she's just a brand. That's all she is.
She's literally empty.
The completely blank individual. Actually having privacy is just part of the brand. That's it. And if you go to the next one here, it turns out apparently Meghan and Harry were looking at suing for a while. South Park for this. They released a statement eventually saying, we haven't seen it, but we're very upset. How are you, if you haven't?
We just know to be upset. South Park made an episode. If South Park made an episode making fun of me, I'd be thrilled, personally.
Also, South Park just succeeded, you absolute brainlets. You people are stupid and will keep doing public statements to protect your privacy. Well, we're issuing a public statement about why privacy is...
It does remind me of how in the Harry and Meghan documentary, Harry's like, I can't believe being in the public eye the whole time. It ruined my childhood. I could never do that. Anyway, let me just put all of my kids in front of the camera for everybody to see.
But also, South Park succeeds yet again. In the polling as well, South Park continues to succeed. Meghan continues to be the, well, least favourite loyal royal except from the paedophile. So she's got that. Not as bad as the nonce. Put that on a gravestone. That's net popularity of -20. Also in the United States, apparently, very recently, she took a massive nosedive in the polls because, of course, been hating in Britain for ages and America for some reason. I don't know who. I've never met a Yankee who likes her, but...
Los Angeles.
Maybe. Apparently even they are sick of it now, especially after the book release, because they can't be bothered. But the thing is, there's another person who's gone through exactly the same circumstance that South Park has been through, in the sense of... Once upon a time, in the olden days, Don Lemon used to say things which were true and would get him in trouble if he ever dared do it now.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. I'm interested in this.
The Phoneys. This is the second part. See what I did with the episode title? Whatever.
Uncle Dom.
Yeah, well, Don Lemon has did a segment back in 2013, in which he titled it 5 Things the Black Community Must Fix, which was before woke era politics, so he never mentions racism. Instead, let's listen to his spiel.
Because black people, if you really want to fix the problem, here's just 5 things that you should think about doing. Here's number 5. And if this doesn't apply to you, if you're not doing this, then it doesn't apply to you. I'm not talking about you. Here's number 5. Pull up your pants. Walking around with your ass and your underwear showing is not okay. In fact, it comes from prison when they take away belts from the prisoner so that they can't make a weapon. And then it evolved into which role a prisoner would have during male-on-male prison sex. The one with the really low pants is a submissive one. You get my point? Number 4
You're not
now
gay, are you?
is the N-word.
Well, he is.
By promoting the use of that word when it's not germane to the conversation, have you ever considered that you may just be perpetuating the stereotype the masser intended, acting like a nigger? Now, number 3, respect where you live. Start small by not dropping trash, littering in your own communities. I've lived in several predominantly white neighborhoods in my life. I rarely, if ever, witness people littering. I live in Harlem now. It's an historically black neighborhood. Every single day I see adults and children dropping their trash on the ground when a garbage can is just feet away. Just being honest here. Number 2, finish school. You want to break the cycle of poverty? Stop telling kids are acting white because they go to school or they speak proper English. A high school dropout makes on average $19,000 a year. A high school graduate makes $28,000 a year. A college graduate makes $51,000 a year. Over the course of a career, a college grad will make nearly $1 million more than a high school graduate. That's a lot of money. And number 1, and probably the most important, just because you can have a baby, it doesn't mean you should, especially without planning for one or getting married first. More than 72% of children in the African American community are born out of wedlock. That means absent fathers. And the studies show that lack of a male role model is an express train right to prison. And the cycle continues.
It's been 10 short years.
Sounding awfully white.
Don Lemon over there, back
Uncle Don.
3 years before the Trump era, when CNN actually attempted to help people.
Apparently, Don Lemon had been reading Thomas Sowell around this period of his life. Those are actual Thomas Sowell talking.
We had to censor him saying the N-word there, in case you're wondering, because of YouTube and the modern era in which we live. But back then, Don Lemon was just on CNN being like, stop saying... And said
He was just throwing the N-word left, right, and centre.
And the point being, clean your room. Don Lemon, clean your room, 2013.
Don Lemon laying out the Chris Rock blacks versus dichotomy.
Yeah, and, well, are any of those bad advice? Don't show your ass in public, or you look like...
You look like you're literally asking for it,
that
according to prison logic.
Prison rules. Don't have a kid outside wedlock, you loser. There's the next one, which is the... maybe you should graduate. Also, don't throw trash on the ground if you can help it.
I've lived among the whites. I know their ways.
It's a real different world in every aspect. And obviously, in the modern age, if Don Lemon was to come out and give that exact speech on the same network 10 years later, correctly, this person notes he would be called a white supremacist by himself. Because how dare you? How dare you say that an individual might be responsible for their individual actions? Shocking ideas. And, well, Don Lemon, it used to be very, very interesting. And it's very recent that he became what he is. And the N-word stuff is probably the most interesting.
It's Trump, isn't it? It's just ever since around 2015, 2016, all of these people who used to apparently be relatively sensible. I've no doubt that at the time he would still be a bit of a leftist maniac. But he wasn't as much as he was.
Don Lemon would have sat and watched that South Park segment about Mrs. Garrison over there and been like, well, obviously.
Well, this is just what we knew back then.
Yeah, Don, you changed. Everyone else in your sphere has changed. But the rest of the country, those people who have gone to the right, haven't changed. In fact, most of them have gone slightly to the left of the old culture. And you're still sitting there.
Remember 2008 Barack Obama campaign saying, I'm not doing gay marriage.
It's not for him. But we'll go to the N-word stuff, because Don Lemon was very passionate about the N-word. And I think he's got an interesting argument. So this is an interview in which they're talking about...
When's this one
some
from?
case. I can't remember the year on this, but Obama used the N-word in a speech
7 years ago,
2015. And he didn't bleep it, of course. He didn't say N-word. He said the word. And Don Lemon is like, why are we censoring the word? Like, if we want to actually understand the text, you need to use the word itself. Otherwise, you're censoring reality and not being able to feel the full force of the speech. It's a very interesting conversation. Obviously, it's kind of pointless because you're on cable TV, which is regulated by the FCC, so you can't use profanity even if it's racial. So, waste of time for the American cable sphere.
But I get the principle that he's...
As for everyone who doesn't have to live under FCC tyranny, such as everyone else, yeah, you're right. I agree with Don Lemon, which is just censoring words, sort of censoring profanity, is kind of dumb. Like, what are you doing with your life? A whole other conversation, but we'll go to the next one here, in which we can see Don Lemon holding up a copy of, I think there's like the New York Times, isn't it? What is it? Oh no, sorry, Westview News over there, with the N-word on the screen. He just did it, and then he went a bit too far. Let's go to the next one here. Wait, yeah, this was a bit weird.
This does look like a 4chan edit.
Yeah, I always thought it was fake. No, it's real. You can go and check it out. It's on Secular Talk's channel 7 years ago. Secular Talk famously used to tweet things like this as well, but never mind.
Let's not call leftists out on their old edgy tweets, shall we?
Yeah, but the point here, I mean, like, this is making fun of him. The Young Turk made fun of him as well. They're like, oh, God, this is so stupid, until you considered the point he was making, which is that, no, if you censor words, well, if you censor profanity, you don't get the edge of the profanity, which means you don't get the feeling of the circumstance in which it was said. Which is demonstrably true. Like, this is the problem with censored spaces. This is why YouTube's terms of service in regards to swearing, which is why apparently we're not allowed to, because it would hurt the monetization, is just a big problem. It's gay. It's a pain in the ass.
Well, it's advertisers don't want their content associated with particular other types of content. That's what it is.
It's bull. I hate this argument. It's like, oh, the advertisers have insisted on this. Yeah, but if YouTube just turned around and said no, where else are they going to go? Do you want to advertise to 1 billion people on planet Earth or not?
Yeah.
Who's got the power in that relationship? It is the guys at YouTube who are deciding to be scoochy about it. But anyway, this is not what brought him down, amazingly. This was fine. No, he's done it before as well.
He carries his N-word card with him.
Literally.
Everywhere he goes.
People listening, this is him back in the day. I love how Wolf Blitzer is silent, like, oh, God.
Was this when Don Lemon was saying in his 5 ways to improve your community, don't say the N-word. He says, a useful alternative, you can just carry your card around with you.
This is, again, him arguing about Barack Obama's speech and the censoring of it and blah, blah, blah. This is him on live TV holding up a card with it written on. As he says it as well, and then the white host next to him just looking distastefully like, God damn it.
Well, he does look like someone's just tried to jam something up his rear end there.
Yeah, and this isn't what brought him down. None of that. No. The thing that finally brings him down is culture changes so much that he makes a statement not in her prime around Nikki Haley, and his career is over.
Is this actually really affected him? Because
Yeah.
I know we had a laugh about it, but I just thought, oh, it's going to be one of those things. He'll just apologise and who cares?
Well, it took a little bit further than that, because the 2 women next to him were upset that he said that women sometimes aren't in their
I always thought
prime.
that Don Lemon was way too entrenched in the mainstream media sphere to be able to be touched by this kind of controversy.
Well, Mr. Lemon is, but Mr. Lemon was
Uncle Dom, on the other hand.
he was sent on a day off. So if you go here to the next one, we can see Tucker Carlson noted. There was a tweet put out saying that sorry, not a tweet. There's a next episode of the show in which Mr. Lemon was not present. You're just laughing at his face.
I want the Project Veritas style video of Tucker Carlson going around the CNN offices looking for where they've locked up Don Lemon.
Well, Mr. Lemon was said to be on holiday. Immediately after he made the statements that Nikki Haley wasn't in her prime, he decided, well, I'm going to the Caribbean for 2 weeks.
I'm getting some flashbacks to last segment. My God, he's gone on a well-earned vacation.
Yeah, apparently no. The vacation was into the CEO's office where he got a bollocking.
Oh, all right.
For daring to say something such as maybe Nikki Haley's not in her prime, which again is not relevant to whether or not she could be president, but whatever. It's
Don Lemon just there like, listen,
dumb thing, right?
Can she have children? If not, she ain't a woman.
But imagine if he had said instead those 5 things the black community can do to improve itself. He'd be on his ass right now. Instead, he was sent for a bollocking, and the leader of the news organization said, we take the situation very seriously. He said that sometimes women aren't in their prime. Don't you know women are always in their prime? Which is what the prime means. Prime means all the time.
What do you think Logan Paul's new drink was about? It was about celebrating women, goddammit.
And no, his punishment is he's being sent on training. Re-education. He is going to be re-educated to know that women are always in their prime.
Which is your 80-year-old grandmother in a prime.
You know how those curves work with a top? That's where it's the prime, and then the rest of it, the rest of that curve, the rest of a bell curve is also the prime. Now,
Okay,
get some arrows.
so
all points,
whether you're here
prime.
or here, there's no difference.
When a woman is born and when she is dead, she is still in her prime.
We just have it curve up that way for fun.
Yeah, you can see here the Hill reporting he's undergoing formal training to learn that the prime is at all times.
Cue Clockwork Orange montage.
I love how it is like it's a dog started pissing on the carpet situation. Or like, well, we sent him for training. If we can't do that, we're going to have to send him to the farm. He's gonna have to go.
Uncle Don being the house newsreader that they have there, obviously.
I mean, that was how they refer to him now, if he dared to give those 5 points ever again. And I did find it funny how his old friend, of course, got the same treatment.
Oh, yeah.
It's just an Italian thing to
All
harass
around
with.
me are familiar faces.
Yeah, the groiper and the man.
The groiper and the race trait.
It's how they be described today by their own side. But the thing is, for all they're faking it, none of these people have made it. And that goes back to the South Park episode as well, and Harry and Meghan over there, because their existence is life or death, depending on their brand.
Well,
And their brand just casts them as millionaire victims. I mean, like Don Lemon, I looked up. Do you know what he's getting paid? $5 million a year. You know what Rachel Maddow's getting paid right now to do her show?
like 5 million a year. is
$30
not-
million a year.
How much?
30 million.
30 million.
Yeah, for the Rachel Maddow show, in
Ju-
which she says Russia did it.
In which she says nothing that she thought up herself.
I have been handed this leaflet from the Clinton campaign that says Donald Trump, Russia. And now for $30 million.
We could have so much more of a lucrative existence if we just gave it our dignity and morals.
But then you can see what happened to Don Lemon. Why is he this shell of a human being at this point? A brand to be used instead of the authentic Mr. Lemon, who came out and said, yeah, here's how you improve the black community. Here's some tangible things you can do. The reason for that is, well, now he's just a brand. He's a phony. He's a big fat phony.
He's a manufactured talking head. He's not in charge of his own destiny. He's not in charge of his own thoughts.
The only victim in all of this is actually sincerely these people. Megan, Lemon, Harry, who just instead have to live their meaningless brands so they can go past go and collect $200. I almost feel sorry for them if it wasn't so much goddamn money.
I mean, they chose that life.
But there you are. There's the South Park episode, which hit on something more closer than I thought. The recent explosion of old South Park content, which is very, very taboo. And also CNN, which used to be very, very taboo. In the same vein, as in, well, they said things that could actually help you. If you appreciated that segment from the podcast The Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content that's on the site, such as the premium videos, this one on Aristotle, on justice and merit. If you'd like to find out what else the Lotus Eaters are putting out, you can follow on Getter at lotuseaters_com on Getter. Thank you and goodbye.